Right, I'm back at the field and I'm going to do another cut. We've only got about a week of the season left before officially it stops, and that's relevant to bird nesting and things like that. I did say this field, the hedges were going to be cut back this year. I personally can't see that happening now. It's with only a week left. I think it's not going to happen. The landowner is extremely busy. I've been busy, and yeah, it hasn't happened. So it'll be next year more than likely. But fingers crossed it won't happen, so I'll have access to cut again next year. Yeah, so I'm going to go and get another little cut. You've seen me cut here before, so I'm not going to labour that point again. But I am here for something else, and I'll let you have a little look later on. Right, I've got about 20 pieces there, and a good majority of those can probably be split down to 2 hiking sticks. A few lightweight ones, some medium ones, and a few real heavy gauge ones. But yeah, not too bad. So I'm going to start sorting this out. Probably get one more attempt in there, and then I'm going to see if I can get 3 or 4 staves. 3 anyway. Right, it's difficult going. It's not such a defined trackway on top of this hedge that I'm pushing through, and it's intermixed with hawthorn and blackthorn, which is surrounding me now. So I've got to be extremely careful. But I've already got a bundle up there of about 35 pieces, so I'm hoping for a 50-piece harvest, and then I'll move on to those staves. I've just took all my glasses and goggles and everything off just to talk to you. Yeah, I'm here primarily to get a bit more stock for the basic end of season number count, and I'm going to see if I can get some staves, because I do make longbows. I haven't made one in a couple years now, and I did actually go out with my longbow in the garden just to see if I could get any kind of results in aiming it, because my aiming eye, as some of you will know, is only got 30% vision at the minute due to an accident. And I did have some success trying to adjust my aiming points. It's going to take a lot of work, and I'll never be where I was as in accuracy, but I can still gain some small amount of enjoyment from it. And like I've said to you before, it is one of my guilty pleasures. Archery does give me that little bit of enjoyment from my garden, and when I go out into the woods and just fire a few arrows at some targets, it's thoroughly enjoyable. And you know, I was frightened that I may never be able to shoot a bow, but my initial first few arrows down range suggested I may still be able to get a degree of accuracy back. Right, I've just got all this out the hedge, and as you can see, I've got a lot of processing to get that down to stuff not only I can transport, but to clean up the field and the hedge. Right, and you can see what I mean. Leave it tidy. I've processed all this lot right down. I've got a bundle of about 30 pieces there, and as you can see, totally clean, no mess. Right, let's get this job done. Well, look at that, the sun has decided to come out. I get all these on the car, then I go and see if I can get a couple hazel staves to make these bows. Right, I've just got a couple handfuls on top of the car. Obviously, because it's staves, I'm not going to use hand tools, I'm going to use the little chainsaw. But yeah, what a harvest. We've done well on this one. I think I've got about 80 odd pieces. Well, to get anything really, because it's the way this hedge has been managed, it's all really young stuff. That's why it's grown so straight and it's at the size I can take. You know, there is a reason why this is a gold mine, but for me to get anything that I can start thinking about making a bow with, or converting something of the size down to chase the rings through the actual piece of wood to make the bow and retain its strength and characteristics and physics of being able to bend and spring back. Yeah, there isn't a lot of stuff in here, but what there is down here in the bottom part of the valley. So there is some there I can take. I am absolutely threaders because I've been walking up and down this valley retrieving those 80 other pieces and taking back to the car and stacking on the roof. So I think it's going to be 2 pieces from here because there's not a lot left in me. Right, something like that is quite a nice size actually to take, but it's sycamore and I'm after hazel. Quite simply because the last bow that I've had a lot of success with was a hazel bow. I know there's other woods and better woods to make bows, but I predominantly use hazel and my last bow was hazel, so I'm going to take hazel now. I'm just having one last check before I start taking the pieces I want. Nothing worse than if you cut and you look at it afterwards and think, well, I'm not going to use that now. Yeah, that looks promising, but like I said, it's sycamore. I'll have to take the biggest pieces of hazel I can find. They will shrink, and I'll have to be extremely careful when I work them down because they'll already be quite on the borderline of making a bow with. Yeah, I think it's going to have to be those. Although I do see one there. Right. Well then guys, it is so horrible outside. I've done nothing to like wild camping or hiking, but I'm in the workshop and I've straightened two pieces there. I've got a nice thick piece there. That's for another battle axe model, and I've got a staff I'm producing with some custom artwork on it, and I'm straightening one in the jig at the moment. But I'd just like to let you have a look at some that I've finished, and I've finished using a wax and polished. Now I think they've come out really well, and I'm very pleased with how wax puts a really nice smooth sheen to sticks, particularly when you polish it. And yeah, it's absolutely changed my mind to finishing, and I think I'll be using wax products a lot more. Right, I finished these four here with various different shades of wax finishing product, and they've come out really nice. But before we have a look at them, you can see the harvest, this year's harvest. And as you can see, if you can think back to where we started, I've got the best part of, well, it's probably nearly, when I usually count it and it's this full, it's got to be about 600 there, I would say. It's really coming out over that drain cover. I don't have a lot more room left there. I'm going to see if I can target some holly, maybe some beech, but I don't have too much room left. That's this year's harvest. In the nick of time as well. Only really one more week, and I don't know what the weather's going to be like to get on the ground to harvest. So just managed to pull it off this year in the nick of time. Now, I was given these waxes to try, and I was very skeptical because I've not used waxes on woodwork other than really very occasionally, and I've never been that impressed. But you know, these ones here, what I've used, is come out with a very nice sheen, and it's got kind of like a glossy look to it when it's polished. And I've got an antique brown. What's that? A Ruger brown. And what's this one? Jacobine. Yeah, they've done a really fantastic job to the sticks. Yeah, I've never given wax the credit it deserves. I've used it in the past very infrequently and not to any real extent. and I've never experimented that much with it, but I'm so pleased with how this has come out. The wood feels silky smooth. I've depicted a badger there, old man of the woods Brock. But yeah, the whole stick, even the bark, feels absolutely smooth. And the wood has got like a real nice creamy look to it in colour. This one's come out very nice, and I should be using wax a lot more. I've got one I did here. These are my basic model sticks. I depicted an owl on this one. Quite simply because I was out walking the dogs and I've seen an owl. I think I videoed it. I might put a bit of footage on. And that's quite often the case. I'll be out and I'll see something of a wildlife, an animal or a bird. I'll come back and I'll think, oh, I'll put that on a stick. But the wood feels so silky smooth. You can feel the grain. You can see the grain. And it gives it kind of like a dull varnish look as well, without that plastic artificial feel that varnish gives the stick. You can feel everything about the wood. You can even feel where I've actually scraped the bark off, sanded it smooth, but you can feel that underlying working of the wood where I've worked it. I'm very impressed with wax, and I should be using it a lot more. And I should be experimenting a lot more with it. But these are my basic sticks, so I thought I'd just try it. And the darkest wax, which has got kind of like a smoky grey hint to it, I put on one of them to try and give it that distressed look. I like to produce a vintage stick now and again. When I say produce, give it that vintage look and feel. Obviously it's a new stick, but I just want to be able to give it that vintage kind of look, old retro look. And as you can see, it's given that I haven't sanded and polished these tips yet. They've just come into the workshop for finishing now. But you can see I've got that underlying smoky kind of look to the wood. And it looks like it's been well used. Something, you know, that would have been like come straight in from a walk and it's been used for years and put in the corner. Yeah, I'm really liking this. I usually stain a stick and then sand it back out and put varnish on the top to give it a bit of a shine, to give it that kind of like old vintage look. But yeah, this wax, this dark coloured wax, it's kind of done it straight off the bat. It's given it that patinaed look of age. Yeah, really liking that. Now that antique brown colour, it may look like a shoe polish brown colour, but it does come out with very, almost like a very light golden colour when the wood soaks it in. So it doesn't actually end up looking like that. It comes out almost like a honey colour. That there leaves a slight hint of brown. And that's almost like licorice black gives the wood that kind of like smoky grey used overtone. I'm liking that. So this is a cane I was actually shaping the actual topper to it in one of my previous videos. It's in the style of my hiking sticks, but the topper's come out extremely nice, and I've used wax on this one as well. And it's polished up to a nice sheen, and it's as smooth as silk. And this was actually a custom order. Well then, because the harvest is pretty much complete and I've done a few videos on the harvesting, I aim to put a bit of that time towards some more outdoor activities and record, i.e. hiking, possibly a little bit more towards the wild camping side of things as well, and basically just being out and about. I will still be doing crafting, obviously, because that's part and parcel of the channel, but I've been so wrapped up in the harvesting because it's been so bitty and doing little bits here and there. I've just basically had to get some sticks together, and the harvest that I've just taken you on, and I apologise for not going too much more in depth with the videoing of it, but I just had to get the numbers. As you can see, the weather's gone poor. I don't know what the weather this week's coming. I'm quite busy with custom orders. I was supposed to cut a tree down this weekend, but the ground was so wet we couldn't do it. So I know I've got that coming up to do this week if there's a chance to get in the field. So yeah, I'm glad the harvest is finished for this year. I enjoy the harvest and I enjoy doing it and being outdoors, but it's always that nice satisfying feeling when you know you don't have to even think about harvesting till roughly next Christmas time. So I'm going to continue polishing and putting the lanyards on these 4 sticks. And they're my basic ones. Like I said, I may get them online. I don't know. I might keep them back for a craft fair. I'll have to wait and see. But I've got these custom orders to then start cracking on with. So all that's left to be said is take care, stay safe, and I hope to catch you guys on the trail.